This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Hey, friend, I know how this feels. Waking up exhausted after multiple trips to the bathroom and feeling embarrassed by sudden leaks. I used to be constantly on edge, searching for a restroom whenever I was out. Then I discovered Better Woman. I was skeptical at first, but 2 months in, everything changed. I experienced improved bladder control, no more heart-stopping moments when I laugh or sneeze, less urge to go, deeper and more restful sleep. I finally felt like myself again, confident and in control. Better Woman is natural, effective, clinically tested, and trusted by women for over 25 years. Ready to take back your control? Head over to BeBetterNow.com to order your supply today. That's BeBetterNow.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed. Individual results may vary.
Fan.
What's going on, Peter? Pete Bercich?
How's it going?
Pete Bercich, Analyst, Vikings Radio Network.
The Analyst.
How are you, my friend?
I am good. It's just about, we're about to enter into the football abyss, the months of really, June and July, and
right.
Got a whole lot going on, and here we go.
You live in Chicago, and the first one is for the Vikings is Monday night at Soldier Field. The Analyst is living right with that one, isn't he?
I've already texted Joniak and Thayer, and I'm talking crap, and what's it going to be like to be in Monday night, 0-1, new coach, new everything, all that money spent, and nothing to show for it. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. We haven't started here in Chicago since maybe 94, 95. I don't know. I can't remember the last time we opened up a game in Chicago. So it's kind of like they're swapping the Bears with Green Bay this year. So be it. That's kind of how the schedule looks to me. But overall, yeah, I think there's some hidden nuggets in this whole thing I think are going to, help the Vikings out or bode well for them.
Let's get into that in a second. But first, with this first one, this is a very compelling game, the way the season begins. Monday Night Football at Football Americana, Soldier Field. You got Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy from the same draft. Caleb played a bunch last year. J.J. played none. So would you, let's start with the Bears side first. Would you prefer to catch a new head coach like Ben Johnson in that first game, or is that a rough spot to kind of get somebody new who's very clever, simply because you kind of don't know what's going to be coming?
Yeah, I think you'd like to play him game 2, maybe game 3, just so you get a little bit of film, because we know what Ben Johnson, or we think we know what Ben Johnson was, but we're going to find out how much of that offense in Detroit was truly his. You have an idea of what they're going to do on defense. But yeah, there's a lot of question marks in that game, right? And with the Bears, the new head coach, they're going to be more prepared for the opener than I think they've ever been. Obviously because they want to show out well to begin with. So, it's kind of I think a tough time to catch the Bears, coming out of the gate with a whole new entire staff, some new players, revamped offensive line, kind of like ours. So, it's a very compelling football game. It's gonna be a good one. Who knows what's gonna happen?
And
what I mean?
Conversely, on the other side, if you're the Bears, is this the time you would want to hook J.J. McCarthy, making his regular season debut?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Anytime you're playing against a rookie quarterback, the earlier you get him, the better. There's no question they're getting him at exactly where they want to get him. Knowing that a rookie quarterback is going to go onto a field to look at a defense that he hasn't seen a single stitch of film on, right? Because you have a new coordinator defensively in Chicago too. Yes, he's coordinated before, so you might have an idea. But overall, you can't tell him, you can't point to anything concrete per se. So it's going to be a big challenge to send a rookie quarterback on the road Monday Night Football against a defense that he's really never seen. So it's going to be a big hill to climb. A lot to get ready for, a lot to prepare for. But they can start now, right? They can start working on that now the best that they can.
The last time we were in your native city for Monday Night Football, it wasn't 2020 when the team last was there. We called that game from U.S. Bank Stadium. Cordero Patterson had that long touchdown to begin the second half. So the last time we were there for Monday Night Football, do you remember? You drove me around the city of Chicago in the morning, and it was just awesome. Is that the play? Is that the play this year for Monday morning? It's got to be.
I think so. We can. We can do whatever you want. We can go back to El Faro and get a I always have a burrito there out in Summit. Paul, spend some time this summer when you're catching your breath and just figure out what it is in the Chicago area that you'd like to see, and then we'll make it happen. How does that sound?
I'm in. Looking at the schedule that the Vikings put out from the team site, you got 3 preseason games: Houston here, New England here, at Tennessee. I think we only have 2 radio TV simulcasts this summer. At Tennessee, I think, is a CBS standalone game, so just radio for that game. So that'll be something different for us, Pita.
Yeah, we haven't just called a regular old radio preseason game. That's unfortunate. I didn't know that, but hearing it now, it's unfortunate just because we had so much fun with talking to the players and the coaches, Coach O'Connell and JJ and Harrison Smith, getting them mic'd up on the sideline. I thought that was a pretty compelling bit for a preseason game to get a chance to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, that's. I'm sure it's going to be great. CBS, August 22nd. Maybe it's Ian Eagle and Kevin's on the sidelines. Like, all right, Ian, we're going to run a screen right here, and we need Brandell to get the middle linebacker right out of the gate. There's the play, and Ian Eagle will be like, "Thank you, KO. That was great." So we expect. Things like that will happen, radio and TV, this preseason. Just don't exactly know the games. Now, you said earlier, Pete, that there are some nuggets within the Viking schedule that you think aid Minnesota. What are they?
Couple of things. I would point to, number one, when you look at the non-divisional opponents, right, and you have 11 of them, so it's not an insignificant number, but the most experienced or the best quarterbacks going into this, we're going to face at home, right? You're going to play the Bengals with Burrow at home. You're going to play Philadelphia, obviously, at home.
Yeah. Lamar.
Baltimore at home. So you're going to face.
Wow.
So the best, and then Washington too. So you got them at home as well, Daniel. So it's like the most difficult the best quarterback non-divisional that we might see on the road. Is it probably Herbert in L.A., right? Or, we'll see. We'll obviously keep track of Sam Darnold and see how he does. So
and Jared Goff.
I think that part of it is something that the Vikings have to take advantage of, right? And the ability to go to Europe and make 2 away games. They're still away games to us, but for Pittsburgh and for Cleveland, though, they're definitely not home games.
Yeah, and from a fan standpoint, I like how you laid that out. It's obviously there are tens of thousands of people who own season tickets, but I mean, if you're going to the home games this year, You're right, man. I mean, the home opener, week 2, you get Michael Penix. After that, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Jared Goff, and Jordan Love. I mean, that's from a quarterback standpoint, that's a spectacular list of adversaries coming to U.S. Bank Stadium, right?
No question about it. And again, it's those really good quarterbacks are the ones that you want to face at home, right? And not that, I mean, some people can argue, well, they're less affected by the road noise and blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, that's true. But the advantage that you have of playing a home game, you need it against those teams, right? You need it against the great quarterbacks, and we're gonna see that a little bit throughout the year. So, other than that, it's a tough schedule, right? That's what the NFL does. When you win, they put you on national TV and punish you. And the other point that I'm thinking about, Paul, too, is going into Detroit last year, we were 0-5 on road primetime games. And then we lost against Detroit, so that's 0-6. Do you want to count the playoff game? Yeah, whatever. But that is kind of statistically, that's something that kind of stands out. And a team that's won 14 last year, 3 years ago, won 13. Losing on the road in prime time is something I think that as an organization, that's kind of like what coaches will do. They'll take a look at that and say, hey, what are we doing wrong? What could we do better? Because you have 3 primetime games on the road this year.
At Chicago to begin, then after the Eagles, you're at the Chargers on a short week, and then you're at Dallas week 15 for Sunday Night Football. There, that's a very good point. And by the way, so you get the final 2 at home, Detroit and Green Bay. That's favorable. Both teams very good. One of them very good. The other has a chance to be very good. But before that, 4 of 5 on the road, man. At Green Bay, at Seattle, weeks 12 and 13. Jaden Daniels here, no bargain. Then at Dallas and at the Giants. 4 of 5 on the road that late in the season. What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, I do like the way you look, the December into January kind of lays out, right? Because that way, if you look at it that way, you're saying, all right, we got 3 out of the next 5 at home. But the final 4, you're at Dallas, you're at the New York Giants, and then you play Detroit and Green Bay at home. So at least the 2 games at the end of the season, which I'm sure will be must win, and there'll be a lot riding on it. Those will both be home games. We won't be stuck going to, week 18 in Detroit, having to win to win the division and get the bye and the whole, that whole mess or that whole pile. That'll be a home game. So, yeah, the end of the season, I do like the way the last 4 or 5 games kind of wind down the season. It's much better of a stretch than that that middle run. Once we come back from the bye, it's game on for about 6-7 weeks.
Pete Bercich, in booth analyst for the vast and ever expanding Minnesota Vikings audio network, and we're talking about the Vikings schedule. But outside of the schedule, I read a story over the weekend, or I can't remember how I came across it, but I'm pretty sure it was just like looking at NFL stuff. And like I hadn't thought about Jalen Ramsey since the corner for Miami. Since maybe the Vikings played a game against him, I had forgotten that he's available for trade. All right, so I'm going to lay this out for you. The corners for the Minnesota Vikings, the corners: Rodgers, Murphy Jr., Okudah, Blackman, Nudie Guy, and a college free agent, Alec Lewis from The Athletic, absolutely loves. I can't remember his name. If you believe, for the Minnesota Vikings, Peter, if you believe they have a Super Bowl caliber team, does it make sense to at least see what the Dolphins want for Jalen Ramsey?
Of course. I mean, and you know that they are. I mean, that's kind of the theme, right, that you hear from Boise is they leave no stone unturned. They look at every possibility. They said, he said that when they were discussing Aaron Rodgers. So there's no question that they're going to be looking into this as well. And I thought going into the draft, one of the main positions of need, would be cornerback. if you look at the cornerback and the safety situation, Metellus is listed as a safety, but he's really a linebacker / nickel and more so than a deep half safety or anything like that. So take him out of that mix and you're pretty thin at safety as well. So I think the defensive back room is probably one that maybe we'll see an ad or two as we get into the season. But knowing Flores, with the way he disguises things, I think it takes some pressure or a lot of pressure off of the defensive backs. I mean, Mike Zimmer's defense was much more demanding on that position as far as corners go, with pattern reading and four-man rush most of the time. That's really not the case anymore. So, that's going to help. But, the ability to play man-to-man sometimes is huge, because that gets the quarterback to hold on to the football, especially if the guy can't scramble that well. You're not going to be playing a ton of man against Lamar Jackson, but some other quarterbacks, you can sneak, mix some of that in there, and that'll help the pass rush quite a bit. So, I wouldn't be surprised if I'd be surprised actually if they haven't checked into that already. Getting him here, though, that's a whole other thing.
Okay, two more for the analyst.
Bercich.
This is our marathon segment, courtesy of Steve's Appliances, stevesappliances.com. Hey, we have a Memorial Day savings event. Steve's Appliances is turning up the savings right now through June 4th. Score unbeatable deals at this third-generation Minnesota family-owned business, serving the entire Twin Cities metro since 1956. Fast delivery, free recycling, guaranteed low prices on quality appliances from Whirlpool, GE, LG, and more. Learn about the Memorial Day savings event at stevesappliances.com. What do you think about the Ireland-England jaunt?
I don't know. I mean, you sit back and you think about it, it's like this is our fifth trip to London. I've been to London like 7 times in my life. So the London bit is kind of like, all right, I've seen every square inch of Watford that I could possibly see. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so this is just, kind of a long road game. It appears that our time in Ireland will be short.
Right.
Heading out on a Thursday, and then
maybe
after
a Friday.
That, flying over the channel there. Well, that's not really the English channel, but just jumping islands to London. So, I think the Ireland game is very, that game's very important. Just because of where it falls in that schedule, game number 3, or it's actually game number 4. But both Pittsburgh and Cleveland, to get some momentum into the bye, because once you come out of the bye, it's going to be game on. But yeah, I think it's going to be, it's cool. It's the future of the NFL. We've seen Jacksonville do this a couple times, but they have ties to Europe with ownership. So it's kind of the first time, you're seeing a team do that. But again, think about it, Paul. If you had a choice between back-to-back from Pittsburgh to Cleveland, or you could play them on a neutral site somewhere in Europe, I mean, it's not that daunting. You know what I'm saying? I think it takes the edge off of having to be away for so long. And the big thing is for the guys that are going to have family out there. I mean, who's going to charge up the supercars while they're gone, right? You're going to come back. You're going to come back from London, getting ready for the bye, and then they're not going to be able to get out of the parking lot anyway. But we'll worry about that later.
The Packers to close.
Because he's a homer. You doesn't call me as a homer.
What? Without going game by game, what kind of season are you feeling for the Green Bay Packers?
I don't know. I mean, the quarterback. How much better do you think he's going to get, Paul? You know what I'm saying? Is he as good as he's going to be now, or is he going to still continue to improve? They're going to be an at or above 500 team. I think this year they're going to be a tough opponent. Not a whole lot's changed, right? I mean, not that I've checked unless something's happened. I think they brought in one new offensive lineman to shore up a guard position. But outside of that, you're pretty much playing the same Packers team that we've played over the last couple of years. So we match up well. We play them well, especially in Green Bay. So, that November 23rd game will be big, right in the meat of the schedule.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you got that speedy Texas receiver Golden. He'll be in the mix. And something that I'm still wrapping my football mind around is they're going to move Elton Jenkins from guard to center. Now, he's their best offensive lineman, and both you and I have a super high level of respect for Elton Jenkins. But like when you're moving your best guy to a spot that may not be his best spot, we'll see. I'm not going to shortchange him because he has all pro to him the minute the first whistle sounds. But what do you think of that? Jenkins moving to center.
He's gonna. It's got to be a move that he's accepted and wants to do. That's kind of the
right.
That's kind of the question. I'm sure to the media, he's saying, yeah, I love it. But I think about Detroit, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the center that they have out there,
Ragnow,
Ragnow, who was kind of disappointing at guard. Right, he was having a hard time, and then they moved him over to center, and next thing you know, the guy's one of the better ones in the league. So it can, conversely, someone like Jenkins could maybe find a home at center and be like, yeah, that's maybe where he should have played his entire career. I think that's less likely to happen, but they're gonna. The thing is we don't play them until the end of November, so you're gonna have a very good idea of what they're all about. They're still a very, very young offense. They've fielded the youngest offense, I think, the last 2 years in a row. And I don't think I think they're going to be right up there again this year. And then for them, obviously, is a huge thing. Injuries, I think, injury to key positions has hurt them quite a bit, especially at wide receiver, over the last couple of seasons.
All right, my man. Greatly appreciate you. And we will catch up very, very soon. Have yourself a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. Appreciate you, Peter. Talk soon.
I appreciate you too, Paul. Congrats. Hey, congrats on the graduation, by the way.
Oh, thank you, my brother.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, you being one of my best friends, you've been right next to me, subsequently next to her through a lot of trying times over the last 8 to 9 years.
Oh yeah.
You know that I've said this before. She's one of the, if not the toughest people I've ever met in my life. And to get to that coronation of a graduation last week, it was unbelievable. So thank you very much for acknowledging it.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Take care.
See you, bud. Pete Bercich, analyst for the vast and ever-expanding Minnesota Vikings audio network.
And the silence you hear is Lambeau Field.
Cash thing.
The Fan at BigDeck.com are going to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Head to KFAN.com and the keyword Bills. The keyword Bills, KFAN.com.
Hey, friend. I know how it feels, waking up exhausted after multiple trips to the bathroom and feeling embarrassed by sudden leaks. I used to be constantly on edge, searching for a restroom whenever I was out. Then I discovered Better Woman. I was skeptical at first, but 2 months in, everything changed. I experienced improved bladder control. No more heart-stopping moments when I laugh or sneeze, less urge to go, deeper and more restful sleep. I finally felt like myself again, confident and in control. Better Woman is natural, effective, and trusted by women for over 25 years. Ready to take back your control? Head over to BeBetterNow.com to order your supply today. That's BeBetterNow.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed. Individual results may vary.
Keyword ban. Get ready to kick off the 2025 season with your 2024 UFA champion Minnesota Wind Chill. Catch the game with our own Justin Guard. That's this Saturday, May 17th at Seafoam Stadium. First 1,000 fans receiving Wind Chill 2024 UFA Championship t-shirts. Find out how you can win your way in today. KFAN.com, keyword contests.
Oklahoma City plays the Denver Nuggets tonight at Ball Arena. OKC leads that series 3-2. OKC gets the money tonight. Then the Wolves in Oklahoma City begin the Western Conference finals this Sunday from Oklahoma City. If Denver is able to win this evening, then there will be a Game 7 in Oklahoma City. And the Timberwolves would get, 4, 5, 6-ish days to prepare for the victor of the other side of the bracket in the Western Conference. Oklahoma City is favored this evening. They beat Denver in their most recent game a couple of nights ago. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic putting on an immortality type give and take where they just both were unbelievable. They were at their best when their best was required. And Denver was beating Oklahoma City rather soundly early in the fourth quarter, and OKC blew by Denver, got the money, I think, by 8 points. And so they play tonight. We'll be following that one closely. The Timberwolves this year versus the Denver Nuggets were 4-0. The Timberwolves have beaten the Denver Nuggets 8 consecutive times. Now, each of those games was with now fired head coach Mike Malone leading the way. Mike's a fantastic coach. I don't know what went pear-shaped there, but it was abrasive enough or negative enough for the owner to off the head coach and the general manager, Calvin Booth, in the second half of the season. And I've said this before, too. David Adelman, the replacement coach, the interim, the Cheddar B for the Denver Nuggets, the interim with the assistants by his side. I mean, they're doing amazing work, seriously, to push Shai and this group to 6 games with an interim head coach and find a way to be competitive in most, if not all, the games. That's fantastic work by the Denver Nuggets, who would be different if the Wolves caught them. So Minnesota's beaten Denver 8 consecutive times. And I don't want to go too far down the road on this because we have talkbacks to take, but you know, there are things Finch and his staff and Chris and Mike and Nori both were with the Denver Nuggets like 5 or 6 years ago. So they worked for Mike Malone. Chris, I think his final year with the Nuggets was the year they drafted Nikola Jokic. So he was there when they drafted Jamal Murray. And he just kind of knew that bit inside and out. Thus, you know, the Timberwolves have beaten him 8 in a row. And with with Jokic, that there's something with his passing. He's probably the best passing big man in the history of the NBA. This side of Arvydas Sabonis or maybe Vlade Divac. They also were very good passers. Jokic is on another level. And they compromise him that way somehow, and it jacks with the game. Now, it would be different with David Adelman because undoubtedly they've changed things, but the more things change, the more they stay the same. It's just the ways and means become rearranged. Let's put it this way. In my opinion, if the Minnesota Timberwolves get the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals, the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to the NBA Finals. Oklahoma City is different. Now, those teams split this year 2-2, but what's interesting about that is Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle missed 3 of those 4 games, and they still found a way to go 2-2. Chet Holmgren missed some of those games for the OKC, and Minnehaha Academy go crazy. That matters too, but Julius and or Rudy are impacting the game either more or every bit as much as Chet Holmgren. So just keep that in mind if they get OKC. OKC only saw Rudy and Julius one time, and that will play into factors when handicapping the Western Conference finals. Talkbacks, free iHeartRadio app, baby microphone, 30 seconds. Hal, what you thinking about the team? And here we go.
Hey, PA and Double B, this is Hunter from Montgomery. Got a quick question. I know the Wolves are just kicking ass this whole season. They're going far. I believe they're going to win the championship. But what would mean more to this city? The Timberwolves taking it home or the Vikings taking it home?
Oh, man, I was hoping that question wouldn't emerge. The answer is the Vikings. And it's not because I do their play-by-play. It's because they have been, are, and will be the most popular team in this part of the country. Not just in this state, but in this part of the country when it comes to Minnesota sports fandom. They've also been around since 61. So it's football always wins. That's an adage we've had around here at FM 100.3 KFAN for quite some time. Football always wins. So I don't like to speak for, quote, the state, end quote, but writing the discernment on the question, well, the answer would be the Minnesota Vikings. It's football, and they're the Vikings. What's next?
Hey, guys, big fan, long-time listener. It's been a lot of fun watching the Wolves win and feel like there's a little bit of a winning culture around there, at least. It's new. But the inside the NBA guys last night had a good talking point. Do we think the Wolves are better this year or better last year? I'm just curious you guys' thoughts. Thanks.
Tim Connolly, the general manager, hopefully he's getting a lot of credit. I mean, it's not that he requires it. It's not that, credit or adulation or realistic or metaphorical backslaps or what everybody / Tim Connolly needs. But it's fact, man. I mean, these are facts. It's you made the big deal for Gobert, and you ended up getting Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Hotline! Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Mike Conley. And, you gave up the draft pick that ended up being Walker Kessler. Nice shot blocker. Other than that, doesn't really offer much. And D'Angelo Russell, so on and so on, all those draft picks. Well, I mean, it took a little while with that Rudy deal for everybody to adapt. But it came together last year, and now it's even better. So they're better this year than they were last year. And the reasoning would be because the Suns team they beat last year and quite honestly handled, that's an excellent question my man just posed there. With Booker, Durant, Bradley Beal, Nurkic when he wasn't hurt, Grayson Allen who got hurt early in the series, that Phoenix team, every bit as good, if not better, than this Lakers team the Wolves played this year. Then you get to the next round. Well, whether you beat the Nuggets 8 consecutive and you can limit Joker guys passing as well as anybody in the history of Joker's career, that's one thing. But you still got to beat Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter, Christian Brown, Peyton Watson can be a little sneaky off the bench, and so on. So the Nuggets team they beat last year is better than the Warriors team they just beat. So it's same fishbowl, but the answers are under different rocks. For me, it goes back to what I said, and doesn't mean I have to be right, but we're starting to watch, the team advance to nearly the NBA Finals, so a lot of takes are beginning to bear their fruit. And for me, with all due respect to Karl Anthony Towns, it's the first thing I said when this deal went down is, well, you just got dramatically tougher, specifically for playoff basketball, because that's who Julius Randle is. I didn't realize Dante DiVincenzo was as nose to the grindstone tough as he is. I branded him more as kind of a 3-and-D guy, which is what he is. But I mean, when he was in the playoffs for the Knicks last year, he went lights out from 3 in some of those games against the Pacers. So I prefer, and I said it then, there's no change to the pattern. I preferred Julius Randle over Karl Anthony Towns straight up. And when I said it, it didn't exactly elicit, but nevertheless, I've always liked Julius Randle's overall game better than Karl Anthony Towns. And then you put DiVincenzo in the mix, and the toughness factor for this team is if it was an 8 last year, it's a 9 this year. And when you have a big guy like Julius Randle, who is dramatically and markedly more physical than Karl Anthony Towns, that can't be disputed. Julius's ball handling, 10 of 10 better than Karl Anthony Towns. That can't be disputed. Carl does things better than Julius. Those probably can't be disputed either. But when you have a big guy who can trigger a break and can run the offense from the high post and beat somebody off the dribble while crossing over left to right and then going football player on it and backing you down under the basket without getting a foul and making it, that's the answer. I mean, Julius Randle, for my taste then, now, and probably moving forward, is a more impactful player than Karl Anthony Towns. And then you put DiVincenzo in the mix, and there's your dagger. And this team needed a player like Julius. And they got it, and now it's reaping the benefit.
Hey, friend, I know how this feels. Waking up exhausted after multiple trips to the bathroom and feeling embarrassed by sudden leaks. I used to be constantly on edge, searching for a restroom whenever I was out. Then I discovered Better Woman. I was skeptical at first, but 2 months in, everything changed. I experienced improved bladder control, no more heart-stopping moments when I laugh or sneeze, less urge to go, deeper and more restful sleep. I finally felt like myself again, confident and in control. Better Woman is natural, effective, clinically tested, and trusted by women for over 25 years. Ready to take back your control? Head over to BeBetterNow.com to order your supply today. That's BeBetterNow.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed. Individual results may vary.
Fits.
Carboni's Pizza wants to fuel your playoff party. Visit one of their 30-plus locations to enjoy delicious pizza and get ready for the playoff run. Find your nearest Carboni's today or carbonispizza.com.
Tomorrow is the Friday football feast, 9 to noon. Alec Lewis is going to co-host the show for a second time. Young Alec will be with us from 9 until noon. And Alec chronicled, or at least told me, he was chronicling in sidebar-like fashion, that's inside newspaper talk, the Wolves and Warriors last night. And so then I went to The Athletic, and I'm looking for the young Alec story, and
oh my gosh, above average at that.
Unless they forgot my man's byline, I can't seem to find it. But I got plenty of time today to find the Alec Lewis story, and a lot of Timberwolves conversation coming your way tomorrow. Alec's very much into the NBA and the team, and it's the local A topic. So listen to the Friday Football Feast tomorrow. Yours truly and Alec Lewis. Brett Blakemore also will be here with us. All right, Talkbacks. Let's fire away and see how many we can get in. Here they are.
Anthony Edwards, 20 points, 10 assists, is way better than Anthony Edwards, 30 points.
Yeah, you know what? When Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle flirt with triple-doubles, the team's at its very best. Even if it's a 12, 10, and 9 for Ant. 12 might be a little light. Like that talkback. Next.
I think Denver would be the preferred matchup for the Wolves since we did knock them out last year in the playoffs. We had success against them in the regular season. I think they match up well against OKC, too. They went 2-2 against them in the regular season. We can throw multiple bodies at Shea. If Randall's playing how Randall's been playing in the playoffs,
right,
we're going to be a very tough team to beat because our defense has been on point. We need Dante DiVincenzo to step up a little bit shooting-wise. Otherwise, I like both those matchups.
Elite talkback. Chet Holmgren's very, very good. He wants nothing to do with the way Julius Randle plays. I mean, if that's the series, I'll share more why later, but that's going to be NBA fact right there. And if Denver can beat Oklahoma City, meaning winning tonight at home, then winning over the weekend in Oklahoma, I mean, that's going to be fatigue of all fatigue ever to fatigue. They're going to be tired as bleep into the next series. And I like the Timberwolves. If the Timberwolves hook the Nuggets, they're going to the NBA Finals. Friday Football Feast tomorrow. Can't wait. Thank you very much for listening. It matters a lot to us. This is FM 100.3 KFAN, your audio leader for everything.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.